Hello and welcome to Dasmore Wargaming. You've joined us today with super special guest Skari from Skardcast. Hi there.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, doing well, doing well. I've got to remember to look over at the right camera, so sorry about that. Yeah, and I'm joined by Ash as always. How are you, Ash?
Oh, absolutely brilliant, mate. I'm excited for this one. I love Skari.
Yeah, I
Be
know
careful where you place your love in an Archon, because they will be the first ones to stab you in the back.
Oh, thanks, mate.
Yeah, Ash, you've that's it. You've had the warning there.
Okay.
So yeah,
Consider me warned.
Yeah. So Ash, I think you're right to take the lead on this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool,
well,
man.
Firstly, thank you, Skari, for joining us today. It's
Thank you, man.
absolute pleasure having you here.
Thanks for having me. I love it. I love chatting. I love talking Warhammer. I love talking about live content creation. It's great. You know, you guys asked me to come on, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. So it's exciting.
No, we really appreciate it. We're only a small channel, so we love having people on to share their stories and things. I think the first time I ever saw you, Skari, was on a mini wargaming battle report, actually.
Nice.
I think you were playing Luca at that point. You were playing your Dark Elder, and he was playing Space Wolves, I think.
Yeah, there was one where I played, and he was playing like his Dreadnought Heavy Space Wolves or something like that.
Possibly. Regardless,
Yeah,
you jumped out with a
months ago.
succubus and
Yeah.
stuff.
I remember that game. That was a fun game. That was when the new Dark Eldar book was brand new, and we were all figuring out how silly things were.
Well, that succubus wrecked that game. I thought that was highly entertaining.
Until she died horribly.
Yeah, that
which happens. Yeah,
it happens when you get ganked by Thunderwolf cavalry, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. That's usually what happens.
So just so if people aren't familiar with your work, Skari, if you'd like to go through what sort of thing you do, what your background is, what sort of games you play.
Absolutely. Well, my name's actually Brizvan. People call me Skari. I've been doing content creation on and off for about 10 years, I want to say. And I've been doing content creation full time as a career for 3 years now. So
Wow.
That's literally what I do. It's my job and my career. I do video battle reports on YouTube. I run a Patreon where I'm also a member of the Art of War coaching team. I do coaching through my Patreon. On podcasts. I basically do collaborations every week with Mini Wargaming, where I play Age of Sigmar, I play 40k, and I've been learning how to play a variety of different factions, not just DRUKHARI. And even though DRUKHARI is like the main faction that people would probably know me for, my original army was Black Templars. So yeah, that's what I started with back in 3rd edition Warhammer 40,000 about 22 years ago now. It's been
Wow.
It's a while ago. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so starting your Dark Elder, what spurred starting that then?
Oh, well, it was I think it was 4th edition, and they just released the Black Templars got their new codex, which was like after the 3rd edition Armageddon book. Black Templars finally got a new codex in like late to mid 4th edition, and it gave them a bump. They were really cool. They had like some cool rule mechanics and things like that. And I think I went through my local game group, and I went through like a 40 game win streak or something like that, and it just became very non-fun to just play, because I played the same list over and over because I didn't have enough money to buy other models. Like, so I had like one list, and that was like all I had, maybe a couple of variations. But back then you played with what you had, and there was no financial like purchase of like 3 of everything or whatever. And I needed a challenge, and I had some Dark Eldar models lying around, and everybody said Dark Eldar were terrible. And so I decided challenge accepted, and I started playing the Dark Eldar. But I'd go to a tournament with my Black Templars, and any prize money got put back into buying a whole bunch of old dusty Dark Eldar models that nobody sold ever. So towards the end of it, I had a fleet of raiders and some old witches and some cavalry warriors, and I converted up an Archon on a jet bike, and then I started really learning how to play with the Dark Eldar, and I loved the play style because they couldn't take a hit, but playing well, they were just like so fast and could be everywhere, and I really enjoyed it. So I just stuck from there. Yeah.
Sort of glass cannon-esque army, aren't they? So.
Oh yes.
So how are you finding them in 9th edition at the moment? What's been your main sort of like feedback for the new codex?
Well, the new codex is quite strong. I think it has something to do with the fact that they can have their cake and eat it as well. You know, they're fast, they kill stuff, but you can also make them durable, right? So you've got all the Coven stuff that sort of makes them more durable than they really should, whereas before they were very they hit hard, but you could kill them very, very easily if you weren't careful. But now you could just hit hard and not die, which doesn't make any sense. And because they could do everything, they just play the mission really well, and that's just, you can see that with the ITC scoring, you know, with like a average 60 to 65% win rate over the last, 8 months or whatever, which is pretty ridiculous. Almost as good as the Castellan Catachan list, which was a terror in like 7th edition or 8th edition.
Yeah, 8th edition. That was a strong army.
However, it's an army that's very, like, in the internal balance of the codex is quite good. Like you want to play with everything other than like maybe beast packs, but like everything is like appealing. There's lots of different combinations to make, but some of them are just a step above, which then dilutes all the other really cool combos you can sort of pull out of the book at a competitive level. But from like a fun level, which I love playing Crusade, for example, I'm having the most fun I've had playing DRUKHARI that I ever have.
I was going to ask you about how's the mix and match and how's the list building in the Crusade with DRUKHARI at the moment? Are you finding it quite easy to make a list nicely for Crusade, or is there a lot of options that you can? Because I haven't read the DRUKHARI Codex personally.
Yeah, the in Crusade it's fun because, well, DRUKHARI are very fun faction because there's 3 factions in one faction. So when you're building a Crusade, you can kind of ideally you want to pick either Coven, Witch Cult, or Cabal, build an initial force that has like that, and then essentially use some of your requisition to like build a second patrol of like a Coven or a Cabal, or you can mix them in and try and build towards a real space raid or whatever it is that you're trying to build. And as the Crusade gets bigger, you can be more varied. But at the beginning, it's a little bit more focused. Like you can't really, unless you don't want to like use a lot of the synergies, you want to keep it rather focused. I've self-imposed a few things. I've been doing like a little series called the Rise of a Cabal, and I've done like 9 episodes or something, and my Crusade has slowly been developing. But a really cool thing I did was I'm not allowed, or I haven't been allowing myself to take any units like Hellions, Reavers, or Witches, or things like that until I unlock the territories that are associated. Because there's a territory and like system where you that you capture things in the Dark City. And so like I don't let myself put Incubi in my Crusade roster until I've unlocked an Incubi shrine, for example. So sort it's like a cool little,
like an achievement trail.
Yeah, and it's self-imposed, but I found it has been very fun to try and get all the little, like he's trying to build an empire in the Dark City, and it sort of shows as I build the Crusade. So it's been really fun to be able to do that.
And your leader for that one, is that Archon Skari? How's he getting on?
Well, he's blind in one eye. He's limp. And he doesn't have power from pain because he's insensate. And every time he has, all the battle scars he's gotten is because he takes territories and then people have tried to assassinate him. So other than that, it's the only thing that's he's trying to navigate the politics. But he is a Master Archon now, and now I'm in the process of making him a nice Trueborn unit to go with. So that'll be really fun.
Yeah.
Nice one. Sorry, Daz, I cut you off earlier. What were you going to say?
No, it was okay. I was just going to say that it's exciting to talk about Dark Eldar with somebody because, as you may know, like Dark Eldar were my first faction. Like when I picked them up in third edition, and it's still the same army I run now, like my third edition models. So I think I came into one of your live streams, Skari, and I said about Vect coming back. So do you think it will ever happen?
I'm not sure. I don't think it will. If anything, they'll probably like bring someone like the Duke Sliskus back, or they'll bring like the Decapitator back, like the Mandrake special character.
Yeah.
You know, I could see them because they have like, you know, the thing is it's not Space Marines, so I like, yes, they'll maybe do like a new model. If they ever do like a Vect model, that'd be really cool, and I'd love to see it. Maybe like a huge like Days of Destruction or whatever dies. And he's like sitting kind of like Glutos, right? Like from Hedonites of Slanesh in Age of Sigmar. And but you know, we'll see. We'll see. There's a lot of stuff, but Dark Eldar has like some pretty new models, and I think their priority would be to turn a lot of the fine cast stuff into plastic, at least in the near future.
Yeah. I mean, are you tempted by the new Craftworld stuff?
I have a whole Craftworld army. I was donated to the channel by one of the Patreons, so I'm very excited to see the new book when it comes out and to play with it. I've had a lot of fun just playing with the Craftworld book now, because it's not as easy to play as the Drukhari book competitively, so I like the challenge.
Okay. And were you able to see I don't know if it's finished. I suppose it has at the same time, the new Avatar model.
Yeah, it came up like they previewed it today. It was, I guess, it was supposed to be previewed later this evening, but it ended up, or early tomorrow morning, but it ended up getting spoiled. So they decided to, forego the potato pictures and decided to put up a nice like frame picture of the miniature. It looks really cool. I love that there's different head options. There's like a really cool like Spartan style helmet, or whatever it is with the like. Anyway, that was neat, or like a more of a ancient Greek like Minoan. I know it's neat. I like that with the spear. Somebody's gonna make a hoplite with like a giant shield and stuff. It's gonna look so cool.
Yeah, there's gonna be a load of conversion opportunities with that, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Oh dear. So you've been I've sort of seen other bits that you've done with Mini More Gaming as well. You've been playing some AOS lately as well. How
a lot of AOS.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I really enjoy the third edition Age of Sigmar. It is a very fun, interactive game, and I really like that. I feel like I'm playing the game almost as much in my opponent's turn as I am in my turn. I think that's the thing that's the most appealing to me. I've got like lots of reactive or defensive sort of like stratagems that I can use, or command abilities. Something that would allow me to redeploy a unit when somebody moves, or to give them a go to ground save sort of thing, like defending or attacking. It's nice. It feels like I'm playing the game throughout the whole game.
I don't shut up about how much I'm enjoying third edition, and it's all for the same reasons that you're pointing out now. Have you got like an army for AOS or armies, or currently, or are you sort of using other people's armies?
Well, I'm using the studio armies from Mini Wargaming mainly, because I don't physically own like a full painted army for AOS. I have all my old Tomb Kings though, but they're a legend army. They're not allowed. No. Although I got a friend of mine to let me play with my legend Tomb Kings for a battle report that I'll be putting up next week, and they have some cool game mechanics, but they're not good.
No.
Other than that, I do have an Nagash that I've built up. I just have to paint, and I've got quite a lot of skeletons and Tomb Guard, Grave Guard. So I do have a Soulblight Grave Lord army. It's not painted or built fully yet, but that's like where my heart is like the undead style list.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. And so it sounds like then 40k is where your like main passion is, and you ventured off into the AOS stuff, and it looks like that could potentially expand on your Grave Lords.
Yep,
which is cool. Are there any other game systems that you play or enjoy that isn't Warhammer?
Well, because being a one-man show content creator, like you have to pick and choose, what's best investment of time. Plus, I do play games that are not filmed or for content creation, mainly Dungeons and Dragons.
Cool.
So I've been part of a campaign that's been going for over 2 years now.
Right.
Or almost 2 years now, the same campaign with the same character, which has been really fun.
Wow, that is some lengthy commitment to a D&D session. 2 years.
It is. It's fantastic. And it's a homemade campaign. And one of our friends, Rob, has developed this whole world, and we've been playing in it for almost 2 years now. And it's all been online. We're having our first in-person session this weekend, actually. Wow. After like 2 years, I know. So it's pretty intense. That I do. I'm gonna be dabbling into Marvel Crisis Protocol.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. One of the stores that sponsors me, Hooded Goblin, they gave me like a starter set. So I just have to build it, like paint it up and get it ready to go. And then I've heard it's a really fun game. But I've played Bolt Action, Battlefleet Gothic, Epic. I've played a game called Clash of Spears, which is all about Romans. Like it's ancient. I've got a whole Roman legion that I'm starting to work on. And I played DBA, Das Bellis Antiquitate, which is like little 10 millimeter armies of ancients, so that's also a really fun game. So yes, I've dabbled with
awesome.
and Legion, Star Wars Legion. I played Star Wars Legion too.
There we go. I was wondering.
Yeah. We've taken up a little challenge, me and Daz, where Daz has purchased one of the boxes for Star Wars Legion, and it's just us two idiots building it up, painting up, and learning it at the same time. We're gonna vlog it. Let's see how we go.
Yeah, that's great.
From the get-go,
from the ground up.
Yeah, we know nothing really about it, and just buy a box. We've already recorded like an unboxing of it and first thoughts of it. And then once I've moved house, and we've got more room, which is in a couple of weeks, we're literally just going to be Daz and Ash learn Legion, two idiots learn a new game system, and just film it and see how we go. But yes,
I love it. Sounds fun.
That comment has come through a little bit late. I don't know if it's is it Gavin?
Gavin Kennedy.
Kennedy says, any thoughts on any of the Star Wars miniature games, i.e. Legions? So, yeah.
Or Armada.
Or X-Wing.
Well, in terms of the miniature games, I like Star Wars Legion. The times I've played it has been really fun. When I originally played it, it was the starter set. That's how long, I played it when it basically first came out. But the game itself has expanded quite a lot, and there are a lot more miniatures and a lot more factions. Yeah. And something I always enjoyed about that game was the fact that the leader that you pick for your little force, or the leaders you pick, have a huge impact or role in how your army plays, regardless of the faction you're playing. So you can kind of really hyper focus your play style based on the leader that you decide to bring. And then the leaders have access to the special tactical cards or whatever that you use to activate your initiative sequence, and the strategy of what you want to try and achieve through each turn. I like that. Oh, I also played a Song of Ice and Fire. Now that's a fun game too.
That is a fun game. I tried the Lannister army a while back, and it is a good. I like the game. It's all right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, going back to sort of Warhammer, looking through your social media and things, and obviously you've seen your YouTube content before anyway, watching battle reports and whatnot. Loving the paint jobs on the minis and things like that. Your Dark Elder are amazing.
Thank you.
But I just want to know about. I always ask this question because it interests me. But do you have particular brushes that are your go-to brushes? Any paint ranges that are your go-tos? Things like that.
Well, my brushes, something like that. I have mainly Games Workshop brushes.
Okay, wow.
And I've been using, for example, this brush here doesn't even have a name on it anymore because it's so old. I've had this brush probably since I started painting about 20 years ago.
Oh wow.
Like there's a couple of and a lot of these brushes came in the donation that I had from like recently. I haven't had to buy brushes because the Patreon Chris, who donated the Craftworld Army, just gave me a whole bunch of hobby stuff because he's like, I'm going to play a lot of TTS and I'm going to play tabletop, and he just gave me all his brushes and paints. So to be honest, it's been more of a what do I have at hand sort of thing.
Right.
Although just because of the ease, it's been GW brushes because they're easy for me to get,
That's
and they're
enough.
already at the hobby shop.
Yeah.
As for paints, I mainly use Citadel paints.
Mm-hmm.
However, I have been using Army Painter, so I got a whole set of the Army Painter paints. And recently, I've been using some Pro Acryl, which is like a very, very high quality, beautiful style paint, and some Vallejo paints. Some of my more like bright, like vibrant colors, like the jades and the pinks I use, are Vallejo and Pro Acryl. So they're like the more like standout paints, and the rest of it is more GW stuff usually.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, and sort of out of the miniature range, sort of like, especially for DRUKHARI, then, what's your favorite miniature that they currently produce? I say you can either say for DRUKHARI or in the whole range, like any faction.
Any fact. Well, that's a lot of miniatures.
Yeah, I mean, is there any model that you just think that is like, one of the best models that you've seen? Like,
well, usually if it's a really nice model, it's one I'd never want to paint because it's just probably such a pain in the butt to put together, and then it's a pain in the butt to paint because it's like so many little bits and pieces and trying to get under the folds and. So I really like simple miniatures. I think Drazar was one of my favorite models to paint. His Drazar Master Blades. He's on his like little
stone
like
thing.
Stone thing. He's doing his like cool little pose with his swords. That was a really fun, like imposing style miniature. I really enjoyed working on my Tantalus.
Right.
Which is probably my favorite miniature is my Tantalus just in general because it's such a cool DRUKHARI big model. And it's Forge World, and I always wanted one. And then I have a Phantom Titan, like an Eldar Phantom Titan, which is like massive. And I'm slowly working on that one. That one's just impressive, even though it's like a hunk of resin. It's not like the best miniature, but it's like it's an impressive miniature. But I'd say
it's got a wow factor as soon as you see it, just because of its size as well. So
yeah, got to play it on. In the big game, once a year, we put a giant game together and play all these apocalypse stuff, and I get to play all the toys, which is really fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So one thing you've been doing this month mainly is, I'm sorry if I pronounce this wrong, DRUKHARI?
DRUKHARI.
That's the one. How's that going?
Fantastic. We've been doing. I put out the hashtag DRUKHARI. Inspired by Katie Plays 40K's Nidvember, I think it was. She was like, I'm going to paint Nids all of November. And I was like, I'm going to paint DRUKHARI all of January. I can do it too. So I decided to put it out there, and I'm doing like a little giveaway at the end of the month and giving away some DRUKHARI and stuff. And hopefully it'll be like a yearly thing where it's like, it's January. Let's just paint DRUKHARI because it's my birthday month. So I'm like, let's do it. All DRUKHARI all of January.
Nice. That's cool.
And have you finished your Court of the Archon yet?
No. Well, it's playable. It's like tabletop standard. I can put it on a table. I would play it in a battle report. Now I'm just picking out all the details. So it's like the highlighting and the blending and all that stuff, which takes the longest. But I should have this done by the end of the month, so by this weekend. And that's my goal, is just to have it done. And I could put it on the table, then do a bat rep with it. That'll be cool.
Nice. And what other projects are you currently working on mainly at the moment? Is there anything in the pipeline to look forward to?
Yeah, so I'm painting one of the Veil Touch miniatures from the mini wargaming Kickstarter, not Kickstarter, but the mini wargaming campaign for their miniature line that they're doing, of Chaos miniatures, basically, or Chaos inspired miniatures. And it's one of the Valkyrs, which is like a female, like Chaos warrior with like a
That
chainsaw
one
and a
with
bolt
the
pistol.
chainsaw and bolt pistol.
Yeah, so Dave sent me one to paint. That's my project after finishing this court, because I got to play. He looks so cool, and the detail on him's fantastic. So that's my next project, and then I'm gonna probably do the Crisis Protocol set, which I got from the Hooded Goblin. And then in the meantime, I'm also have to build and paint like 4 sets of terrain, because I have them sitting in the studio, and I need to get them finished. If not, they will never get done. So, yeah.
Cool.
So, the new models from Mini Wargaming. Then, in terms of their size, because I haven't seen them to scale.
They're Primaris size.
Are they really? Wow.
Oh yeah, and they're not 3D prints. They're resin cast.
Yeah, so you used one in a battle report recently, didn't you? Or
yesterday? Was yesterday Wednesday? Yesterday the live stream.
World Bearers versus Tyranids.
It was so fun. I played Word Bearers, and I had a Noctilith crown. It was great.
You don't see many of them on the field.
No, not at all.
I haven't watched the Bat-Rat yet, so don't spoil too much.
I'm not going to spoil anything, except I built my army around auras, lots of auras.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Fair.
And the twist for our open war game was all auras are 2 inches. So it made the game incredibly interesting, having to huddle everything together, to like get your auras. It was a very close game too. It was great fun.
Affected Synapse as well?
It does, yeah. It affected everything. Yeah, it was a pretty interesting game.
Gross. That's mental. Absolutely mental. I'll watch that tonight with my dinner.
Yeah. There you go.
It was against Crusher Stampede too, so no joke of a Tyranid list either. So
no, Matt always brings like Gribblies in his Tyranid list. So. Was it Matt you were playing?
Yep. Yeah, and Dave was there too. He was there too, so we sort of like it was a party. It was a long stream. Ooh, a long stream.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So something that I would like to know, and I'm sure other people would like to know as well, is you've had your channel for a little while now.
About 10 years.
Yeah, and it's grown quite large. Quite a big channel now, and we spoke about this briefly, before we went live, really. But like, is there any advice you'd give anyone that wants to start, content creating like battle reports or tutorials and things like that? Are there any sort of basics that you could?
100%. I think the thing that I tend to tell people the most is you just have to do something. Like most people, or a lot of people who reach out to me to get like advice on starting a channel or blog or an Instagram, or they sort of like haven't done anything yet, and they're like, I want to do it, but I'm waiting for this, or I'm waiting for this, or I'm waiting for that. The best thing you can do is just do it. If you've ever watched my first ever battle report, so go to like my videos. I'm serious. Do this. It's funny. Okay. Go to my videos. Go to see all, oldest to newest. So you see the oldest video I ever put up. It's a 6-minute long battle report in my very dark basement that I filmed on like an old tablet. That then ran out of battery, and I didn't even finish the battle report. Oh. But I posted it, and the terrain was old cardboard and styrofoam, and the models weren't painted. Wow. But like, all I did is I made sure I put a video up almost every week since then, right? Like every week a video, right? And just had consistency over time, has created like a following in that sense. So it's just a matter of do it consistently, pick a time, pick a day. It doesn't matter if it's twice a week or one time a month or whatever, just do it every month, and eventually people will kind of like follow. So
it's weird to see you without a beard. What on earth is this?
I know. I could shave it and look like that again. I need to go get a haircut.
Ashley's actually going to look at it right now.
I'm looking at it
literally now.
Quite literally looking at it right.
That's my brother in the video too, who then like 5 years after that was like, I'm never doing battle reports with you again, because I want to enjoy our games and I don't want you to film our games.
Yeah.
So I stopped filming with my brother and I had to find other people to film with.
Yeah.
But that gave me another thing that I would recommend is like, make sure that if you want to turn your passion into like a career, do something for you and not always for like entertainment. It's like I don't
Yeah.
film every game I play. I don't take pictures of every game I play. Some games are just for me, and for me to have fun. And I separate the two. Yeah.
I think that's some good advice actually. I think we've personally, I think we've sort of started on that path, haven't we, Ash, of like trying to just keep dropping stuff out steadily. You know, like putting different stuff out there, trying new ideas, and just do what we want to do because we enjoy it. And if other people dig it too, then it's great. It's just a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
So
yep.
But ultimately, it's just about for us like building a bigger community and embracing all the good things about the hobby and trying to drown out the negativity that you hear and see.
Positive
and
is
like
huge.
That.
Yeah,
So,
be positive. People like that.
You know, that's what it's about for us. So it's awesome to have like people like yourself just come on and chat Warhammer, you know, with us, and it's just so much fun just to get insights from others as well.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But yeah, one thing I was going to ask as well is, have you ever been to the UK and have you ever been to Warhammer World?
I have. I've been to. Well, my family's from England.
Okay.
Well, I have a lot of family in England. But I have gone to the UK. I've been to Warhammer World twice now.
Nice.
So at Bugman's Bar, took the tour of the museum or whatnot, all that stuff. Tried to look for that dang assassin. It's very hard to find.
Yeah, we don't bother with that anymore.
Spend hours and hours just trying to stare at that assassin. You know, recently on Instagram, I saw a person take a picture, be like, "I found the assassin." I was like, "Yeah, why?" I've been looking for that thing for anyway. Anytime I go, but yes, I have. It's really fun. I would like to go and play. I've never played a game there.
Oh yeah.
You know, even though the terrain's kind of bad, and you know, the theme boards look really cool. So I'd like to play like a fun theme game on one of the theme boards.
The theme boards are cool, but I find them really awkward to play a game on.
Oh yes, definitely.
It's
100%.
just like, I think I did it like twice, and I was like, yeah, I'm going back to using the other boards. Like,
yeah.
So
I like the theme boards.
They're cool, but
they're a pain. But I prefer to play on the theme boards than the other boards, though.
I would like to have a game on the one that's just got a Warlord Titan just destroyed.
Destroyed in the middle of it. Yeah. We're quite lucky where we are because we're only like an hour and a half from Nottingham. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's been quite. Is there any plans in the future to come over and
there is, yeah.
And if so, can I play you?
100%.
Yes.
You know, whenever I go, I am planning on going over to the UK this year. I'm planning on doing like a tour of like content creation collabs. So Vanguard Tactics, Tabletop Tactics, Winters, you know, Twisted Dice. You know, just kind of go to and play as many different places as possible with as many different people and do a lot of collaborations there. It'll probably be just before going to the WTC, if that's still on. Essentially, being a member of Team Canada for the WTC.
Nice.
You know, I'll try and like kill two birds with one stone kind of thing, and then do some traveling before going over to Belgium, I believe, where the WTC is going to be held this year. I believe it's Belgium. Yeah.
Nice.
And speaking of other content creators, you had Lawrence on with you.
I just had him on today. Yeah. We was able to finally snag him. You know, he's so busy. I was like, "You give me an hour of your time."
Yeah.
And no, the spider came on, but all he knows is I'm making a web for him. That's right. There will be a showdown of the Archons soon enough.
If you're watching, Lawrence, you've been told, boy.
That's right.
Yeah. Got a question in the chat from Gavin Kennedy. It says, have a completely off-topic question for Skari. When adding a unit to a Crusade army, does it start as its minimum size, or can I put it in its max size?
You can add a unit of any size to your Crusade force as long as you have the power level to do so. So a unit of Cavalite Warriors could be a 20-strong Cavalite Warrior unit, but I believe it's like 12 power or something like that. So if you have like 12 power level to put a big 20-strong unit in, you can. You can put a unit in at the smallest level, and then you can use like requisition to change the size of the squad after it's gained like one experience level. But as soon as a unit gains...
it's got to be bloodied, I believe.
Correct. As soon as that unit receives 2 experience levels, bloodied and battle hardened or whatever, then you can no longer change the number of models in the unit. But if you wanted to have a big 20 strong unit added directly to your Crusade army, that's not a problem at all. But because you're playing small Crusade usually you're playing small games at first before you move up. Although you could just spend all your requisition early on to make 100 power level like Crusade Force and just play big Crusade games from the very beginning. That's totally up to you. But usually you start with like something that could fit into a patrol. So you don't want anything too big. You want lots of little units that can do things and stuff like that as well.
There we go. And also, there's a question. She's not watching at the moment, but she's only just bought some. Oh, she hasn't bought. She acquired some DRUKHARI. I've friended the channel, the Warhammer Girl. Now, what would your advice be for her in starting a DRUKHARI army? What would be the best start to learn with?
If you can get your hands on one of the starter kits, like the starter packs, I think that's a great way to start in terms of collecting the force. The second is DRUKHARI is a very hobby-intensive army, and it can be rather overwhelming. So, every single raider has 2 crew, guns, the entire interior of the tank, because it's the exterior is the interior, right? All the trophies, all the little extra bobs that you can put onto it. So you have to be passionate about wanting to collect the faction, whether it's Cabal, Coven, or Witch Cult. Make sure it's something that you're passionate about making look cool, so that hobby aspect doesn't sort of drag on. Because after you've painted a raider and you do all the passengers and then all maybe the gunners, that's like 5 infantry models and the tank and the interior of the tank, top, bottom, and all the way around. So it's a lot of work even just to get like 1 raider or a Venom built and painted if you put all the pieces on, right? Other than that, you can't really go wrong with DRUKHARI at the moment in terms of what is good. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Just pick things that you like the look of, and then slowly play small games, see what you like, add more of that, right? If you like something, or if you need shooting, add something that shoots. If you need toughness, add something that's tough, and then go from there.
There we go.
Yeah, sound advice.
Nice. And when you're playing with your DRUKHARI, then which army, when you feel that when you play a game, do you least like playing against? What has there been a list that you've gone, oh, I'm gonna have a hard time with this one?
Traditionally, it's something like Tau, because they have the firepower to just destroy you very, very quickly if you're not careful. Yeah. That tends to be a very hard matchup. And then something like Custodes. They're very annoying to deal with because they're just tough. And usually you want to like isolate and focus down an enemy unit playing DRUKHARI. Like you pick a unit and you just put everything into it till it dies. But that becomes very inefficient against Custodes because their ability to like shut off rerolls and good armor saves and good invols. So the more you focus into one unit, the less efficient your army becomes. So you have to sort of do chip away on a bunch of different things to like drag out that stratagem onto that unit and then pivot and shoot a different unit, that sort of thing. So Custodes are really annoying to deal with as well.
I think that's a generalized answer for most people. Who do you least like?
Tau and Custodes.
Tau, really?
Yeah, that's what I said. I said Tau earlier. That was the first thing I said.
I didn't hear that part.
Yeah, Tau is like one of those things where just because they're just smart missile system Tau. Like smart missile systems and missile weapon, like the missiles, the strength 7 missiles and the strength 5 missiles, they're like the perfect weapon to murder DRUKHARI. They're just like whatever you are, like they're just the weapons to kill any DRUKHARI. And so if you're not careful, they'll be dead, all dead.
Well, their new codex is coming out very soon.
Terrified. Pre-orders this weekend, so that's another early morning codex read for me.
And what have you? I don't know if you probably have. Is the sort of the release of some of the Tau weapons and their statistics, especially the Hammerhead railgun, the Storm Surge stuff. What have been your thoughts about that? Because I've heard some mixed reviews on what they thought about the ignoring invols, the strength of it, and so on and so forth. But then people saying, well, it's only a single shot and here and there. What do you think about it?
As a player that's been playing for 20 years, single shot weapons sound great, but in practice, they will always fail you when you need them. That's just like a guarantee. You'll be like, okay, great. I need to hit. Oh, I missed. Reroll. I missed again. Ah, well, that was great, right? Like that's literally what I've seen more often than not. When it matters, when it absolutely matters.
Absolutely. And I was trying to explain to someone, because someone was saying, "Oh, that's disgusting. Why would you?" I was like, keep in mind, it is Tau. They can't really, for a shooting army, they require a lot of buffing to be able to actually shoot well.
Because a lot of stacking things, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Put this from this, then this from this, and then this and this, and a stratagem, and then a marker light.
You need a marker light, you need that, a stratagem, you need this and that. Otherwise, you're just hitting on 4s or 5s.
Right. But, exactly. And then you kill one big unit. Yeah.
You might as well be orc shooting without the upgrades. It's the But yeah, no, I said Rachel wasn't in the chat. She is in the chat, and she's calling us buffoons. So thanks, Rach.
She's wondering what's been said about her, and it's nothing. It's just some advice was given.
We were trying to get advice for you, Rach. Oh, come on.
As a new DRUKHARI player, I don't know what the way to go is with the current books, because I've just been so detached from it, playing AOS. So I don't really know. But when I last played them, it was about taking quite a lot of Ravagers. I don't know if that's still a thing.
Nope. No, before an Archon would give rerolls to Ravagers, right? So you'd have a Ravager rerolling hits and wounds of 1, and he'd be around his 3 Ravagers, and the Archon 3 hours. That was like a standard in every list almost.
Yeah.
But that has switched now. Now you usually see either triple patrol or a real space raid. So you're seeing some witches, some cults, Coven mainly right now, but you look at someone like Manny who runs 180 racks, that's going to get FAQ'd and errated soon. So whatever whatever he ran, expect it to not be so useful soon.
yeah, fair enough. I say my collection at the moment is mainly Ravagers and Talos.
Talos are good. I love my Talos.
So, and that was just because I like the models. Simple as
they're so cool.
So. Yeah, and I have to use the Ravagers because I use my Astrobovec model as a Ravager. So I can at least use him on the table and just pretend,
He is a thing in this edition, I promise.
It's a fun-looking Ravager.
The best thing I've seen in the DRUKHARI Codex is when it was first announced, when they increased the transport capacity of Raiders from 10 to 11. How much of a relief was that with your list making?
It was good. And then Venoms went to 6. I think the Venoms going to 6 was more of an impact.
Yeah.
But it's funny how often it's come up in weird situations for me. I'll have, 5 guys with a blaster, and someone will shoot the Venom, kill 4. There'll be 1 guy left with a blaster, and he runs into another Venom with 5 guys in a blaster, and I'll have Venom with 6 dudes and 2 blasters in a Venom, because there's 1 random guy that jumps into a Venom or something, or a full Raider. So it's been not necessarily to put characters in, but it's weird combinations of units, 3 Grotesques and 5 Cavalite Warriors, which is 11. So then you can when the Raider dies, you roll the dice and you can kill Cavalites instead of Grotesques when they get out of a Raider, sort of thing. So it's cool things like that.
Yeah, Scott, I don't see many people run Grotesques in DRUKHARI, from one I've seen, but I've seen you run them.
They're so good.
The models that you use for your Grotesques, because I've never actually seen them up close, what are they? Actual Grotesque models, or are they converted? Or
I have 8 Grotesque models. 3 of them are actual GW models. 3 of them are converted ogres that I converted with green stuff and bits before Grotesque models were a thing, but they had rules. And 2 of them are Bullgrin that I've converted into Grotesques.
Nice.
And then I have 3 more third party that I'm working on that I have in my 2 paint pile, which are just resin prints from a third party company, which look really cool.
Nice one. Yeah. And in terms of the 3 choices in DRUKHARI to run, I know you'll probably say, "Oh, I love them all," but is there a particular one that you enjoy more than the others?
I like Cabal better than anything. If I ran like just an army of Cabal, I'd be very happy. And I have ran just an army of Cabalites, and I think it's very strong still. But that's just my favorite. It's just Dark Elder, like witches and stuff are like specialist troops. I just want a bunch of guys and raiders with poison weapons just shooting people from their gunboats, and that just sounds cool.
Have you ever ran anything as Yunari?
Yeah, I've got like the triumvirate and stuff. I love running the Incarn a lot of the times, just to kind of run around and play tricks with my opponents, like bouncing around and stuff. So yes, I have. I'm looking forward to seeing what their new sort of rule set is whenever that comes out. Just because I feel like it would be really fun to try. But the thing is, Inari was so crazy, like in the past, that it's still paying for its sins right now.
Right. Yeah.
So you like, when will it ever be really, really good again? Who knows? Because they were so good for like a short period of time that it just made people have nightmares.
Well, it was the soul burst thing that when they first come out, if something got killed near them or died,
they got
to
activate
they got
again.
To do something. Yeah.
Oh yes, it was absolutely
brutal.
Ridiculous.
Well, there's a rule that came. I don't know where it's come from, but there was a rule that it's rumored to be in the next book, in like the Crawford book.
Yeah.
And just the thought of it is maybe want to actually run a Yunari list, but like Incubi and like striking scorpions and stuff like that, like all melee. So I might be doing that, but
that sounds fun.
But obviously I don't know how true that is. I mean, so far everything that I've got that's come through has like happened. Yeah. So I'm like still taking it with a pinch of salt, but I'm very like I'm getting happier, as more things that come out are true. So like, yes.
It'll have one of those rules where you can't take as many Drukhari units as you can Craftworld units, though. Well, so
I think the points costs are going to be adjusted upwards for all the units if you take them as Yunari, like from Drukhari.
Who knows? Sure. We'll see. It's one of the things like when people leak rules or things like that, they you don't really get to see the full picture until it comes out.
You don't.
And so it's hard to make educated assumptions on you can't really tell what it's going to be like until you see all of the rules sort of like put together and how they're going to interact with each other. And then, it might be just as crazy as it was when the Soulburst thing was a thing, right? And it might not be. So we'll see.
I remember when that Soulburst thing come out, and I've never seen Fire Dragons come out more often than that.
Scatter bikes for us. It was lots and lots of 3-strong units of bikes with scatter lasers, or lots and lots of warp spiders.
Yeah,
that was what you saw.
Yeah, it's just such a ridiculous rule. It really was. It was fun though, I suppose.
Yeah.
For them.
Yeah, for them. Oh dear. So, as well as Drukhari, then, is there any other 40k army that sort of like tempted you?
Well, right now I have Craftworlds, I have Drukhari, I've got, which I can play as an Ari if I want.
Yeah.
I've got a Thousand Suns army, but I haven't played it yet. I have I have my Black Templars. I have my old Talarn Astra Militarum, which is really my dad's old army. They're all the old metal Talarn Desert Raider models, which are really fun. I love playing them. But to be honest, after playing that Word Bearers, I've always loved Chaos. Like I've always, before I even started Black Templars, I wanted a Chaos army. Then I told my mum, I said, "Mum, can you buy me?" She came to England because I was in Mexico at the time. And I didn't know that they sold Warhammer in Mexico. And then I was like, bring me some Chaos Terminators because I had the 2nd edition Chaos book and the Terminators looked amazing. Like I love the spikes and the skulls. I was like, this is badass. Anyway, so then I was like, she brought me a box of Loyalist Terminators, right? And so I ended up painting those Black Templars and adding them to my tactical squad that I got from the starter kit. And from then on, I just didn't have any money to do anything else, so I played Black Templars. But I've always loved Chaos. And after playing that game yesterday, you know, regardless of how the game went, because you don't know yet, no spoilers.
No.
I love word bearers. They're like my favorite. I love the idea of just summoning demons and like just sending the cultists to the slaughter, and like it's just so fun. So that's like the temptation of Chaos, I think.
That is one of my favorite tactics of the Chaos. Cultists in the front and just go forward while everything else is okay.
Yep.
Brilliant. Oh dear.
Yeah, that's my fun. That's the fun stuff.
Yeah. I assume out of the Loyalist Space Marine sort of chapters, Black Templars are your favourite?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I think everybody has, even if you don't play Space Marines, I think everybody has a favourite and like their least favourite, like their most hated chapter. Do you have like your most hated like Loyalist chapter?
I wouldn't say hated.
Yeah.
But I probably wouldn't ever play Iron Hands. If that,
okay.
I like the idea of Raven Guard. I like the Ultramarines are pretty cool in terms of them being like, you know, Greco-Roman like style. And I do like, I probably wouldn't play Blood Angels, to be honest. Dark Angels are okay. I historically probably be Dark Angels, and I'm like, I don't like Dark Angels. Because they're like Chaos anyway. And then you've got but everything else is cool. Black Templars just go around punching whoever they don't like, and I like that a lot.
Fair dues. So yes, Ash, have you got any more questions for Skari? Because I am all out.
No. So out of most of your models that you've been painting recently through DRUKHARI, did I say that right that time?
Yeah, you got it.
What has been the most enjoyable one for you to do? Because I've seen your Slith, and they are disgustingly amazing. By the way.
Thank you.
Has there been one that you've really enjoyed doing?
I put some work, and I did some work on this little guy, my Medusa.
Oh, the Medusa. Yeah.
And it's been painted. Like I painted it 10 years ago, or whenever the kits came out, and I'd never really gone back to do it until this month. And I really like how it turned out, because the pink that I used for the brain, right, or the parasite brain thing, is the pink that I've been using for like most of my army, which is the Vallejo Warlord purple, with some like army painter like Warlock pink as a highlight, and this Drakenhof Nightshade as like a wash before the highlights. And I really like how it turned out. And so even though it's a model I don't use very often unless it's in Crusade, I really, really like how that model turned out. He looks so cool, even though I'm probably never going to use him competitively. He just looks neat.
Well, I expect to see him in some battle reports, or even just you enjoying.
You shall. You shall. Now that my court is bigger, I'm totally like redoing my Crusade roster to make my court like a massive court. Like, I'm just gonna have a 10 strong court, and I'm just gonna go in and do some work. It's gonna be great fun.
Yeah. Is there anyone that's sort of like in the hobby, whether that's content creating or just miniature painting or anything like that you sort of that inspire you like greatly, that you sort of look up to? Any names that you can?
Well, there's a couple of different inspirations for different reasons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in terms of painting or attitude or like content creation. As for content creation, I've always inspired. Like, I really like what Winters has done and what he's created, being like a one man show who like worked in a factory for so many years, like making a channel that's been so successful. I think that's something that I've always found very, very inspiring. So from that end there, as for like a painting and hobbyist perspective, I'm really the Tanya War Mistress, who's been on Instagram. She like paints, and she is a community builder, and I've always found that very inspiring. in terms of like community building and building a brand around that.
Yeah.
And just she's a really nice person, right? And you know, and I've always really appreciated anybody who is very open to interacting with, because some people are like very in their own little box, right? And they don't really branch out or collaborate or do anything like that. That's fine, and they grow and they kind of do their own thing. But I find that I have a lot more sort of like respect for like those content creators who want other people, and they kind of like know that a rising tide like helps all ships, and it's kind of like you're trying really hard. So those are the content creators who I enjoy the most. And it's one of the reasons, like, for example, you know, huge shout out to all the folks at Mini Wargaming, you know, Dave and Steve and Matthew and Luca and Josh, who've like literally kind of like pulled me into that like group of, it's like a really cool family I get to hang out with every week. You know, we just literally go, let's create some crazy magic, and then we just make a cool table and create like something, a story or whatever we're doing. And it's just so fun. And so, you know, and what they've built over like 15 years, almost 20 years of making content, like it's nuts. And I'm so glad to be a part of that. It's not even funny how much it's like from behind the scenes, you see like how much work goes into it and stuff. It's really inspiring.
Yeah. It is one of the dreams for me to go over and have a game in Canada, over at Mini Wargaming. I must admit, one of my favorite contents they've done is a campaign that you run there. So thanks to you. That's why I subscribed to that point.
Yeah, was that the Death of a Chapter?
That's it. You got it. That was a brilliant campaign.
That was a slob. I had a lot of fun writing and producing that campaign.
You got me in trouble at work quite a lot because of that, because I snuck up and started watching snippets when I could.
I got, you know, it's funny because, you know, people were so invested in the Space Marines as characters for that campaign. They would get so upset when things wouldn't go the way that they wanted for the Space Marines. And I'd get like hate comments being like, you're so mean and cruel. And they... Yeah.
Well, that's you were mean, but that's what makes a brilliant sort of like GM or sort of like games master. It's, you know, I thought it was fantastic.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I loved it. I loved it because it meant people really got emotionally involved with like the characters and stuff.
You did get emotionally attached to them as well. Yeah. So that was good fun to watch, mate.
I'm currently, you know, this is a little exclusive here, but I'm currently working on my next campaign. It's a Necron's DRUKHARI campaign, and it's going to follow Archon Skari on his exploits to retrieve his family signet from his father's hand that was retrieved by a Necron overlord in the War in the Heavens. It's going to be a fun little camp there.
I'll tell you what, that would appeal to Rach, the Warhammer girl, Necron's DRUKHARI. I mean, her two factions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, perfect.
She quite literally got a whole army of DRUKHARI just for her birthday. Just randomly turned up to a pub and went, "Here's all this DRUKHARI." And oh God.
Amazing. I love
Good
it.
Lord, how am I getting that home?
That's great.
But yeah. So I think we are coming to the end of the stream. So I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you to Skari for coming on, taking time out of your day to do this with us.
Thanks for having me.
It's been amazing.
It's great. It's really fun.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It is a proper fanboy moment for me. So I was excited at the beginning.
You can always just send me a message on Instagram. You know, I'm always available. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me, or on the Discord as well. Yeah.
So yeah, anyone obviously in the chat now, or watches this back, make sure that you go over to Skardcast on YouTube and subscribe, and follow Skardcast on Instagram. You're on any of the other socials? I think you got Facebook.
More like, what social am I not on?
You got
TikTok.
You got a Twitchy, a Patreon, all that.
Yeah, so everything basically. Just search Skardcast and you can't go wrong. But yeah, show some love and support.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
No worries.
This has been fun.
And thanks to Ash again for sort of setting this up and for taking control of the stream. And
no, it's been an absolute pleasure. Really, it's made my week. And actually, the first day out of isolation from having COVID, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate.
Yeah.
It's been brilliant.
Anytime, you can have me on anytime. This was fun. I enjoyed chatting some 40k. So always.
Well, hit us up when you come to the UK, and we'll see if we can arrange something. We might be a bit bigger by that point. So.
Maybe.
Oh, there we go. Hopefully
Maybe.
you have enough time for me. That'd be fantastic. I'll definitely send you a message. You know, we can.
Yeah.
Maybe you can plug my channel. That'll be great.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
I love
yeah.
that.
Oh, good. So yes. Thanks everyone who's joined in the chat. Thank you to Skari. Thank you to Ash. And until next time, everyone. Happy hobby all.
Happy